I think one of the issues you brought up, everything you say needs to be said, and most people aren't hearing these things. And maybe the most important is that people need to get involved. I think we've gotten accustomed to just pulling a lever once every 4 years and think that's the end of it. But why don't people get involved? And I think that has a lot to do with, cynicism. Even Obama, putting Monsanto in charge of food safety and things like this. You're just like, it's hopeless. But I hate to say this, but I have the same issues here a little bit. My friend just asked me, well, after you made a pitch for people to get involved, which I agree is totally necessary, he said, would you go work for him? For you. And in my mind, I'm saying, I'd sure like to. He's saying things that need to be said. However, there's a couple of issues that you've acted that are opposite of that and that blow my mind. In Burlington, there's a lot of good people working hard to stop basing the F-35. This is the military-industrial complex at its, strongest. And you came out in favor of basing it there. Secondary, another issue is the climate change issue. You've said a lot of good things, but then when it comes to acting, biomass, which is tree burning, is the worst thing you can do for carbon. We've tried over and over, people have tried to talk about that, and the science says very strongly that burning trees is pretty stupid. So the point is, we can say things, point fingers, it comes down to what we do. And I don't see how you could possibly support the F-35 based on all these things.
Good questions.
I'll leave
let me give you good questions. I don't support the F-35. This is what I do support. Whether you like it, or I like it, or anybody else likes it, the fact of the matter is the F-35 is the cutting-edge plane, the fighter plane, for the United States Air Force, Navy, and NATO. That's a fact. Do you deny that? You don't think it is? It is well, you may think it doesn't work. The Department of Defense does think it works. All right, I don't want to, all right.
I'm not going to let the two of you get into a debate about the technicals of planes, because I don't know the answer, but I do want,
let me just answer the question. I'm not in it. NATO, countries all over the world, that is going to be their plane. So the question for me is the plane for the National Guard? We right now have the F-16 in Burlington. It employs hundreds of people. It provides a college education for hundreds of people. So for me, the question is not whether we have the F-35 or not. It is here. The question for me is whether it is located in Burlington, Vermont, or whether it's located in Florida. That's the issue. It is not whether you're going to build the F-35. That decision was made. You may not like it. You may talk appropriately about cost overruns. That's true. It is here. So you're not going to get rid of, I don't believe, the F-35. It is here. The question of where it is located. In terms of biomass, okay, I have introduced, along with Senator Barbara Boxer, the most comprehensive climate change legislation in the history of the United States, including a significant tax on carbon. I am doing my best. And in Vermont have brought in fact, throughout this country, a whole lot of money for weatherization, energy efficiency. The future of America in terms of energy has got to be primarily energy efficiency and weatherizations. That is the easiest way to do it, the cheapest way to do it. But second of all, we need to move towards sustainable energies. The sustainable energies are solar. I've introduced legislation for 10 million solar rooftops. Work with the Vermont National Guard so that 25% of their electricity now comes from solar. Wind, work very hard to bring wind into the state of Vermont, all over this country. Geothermal, held conferences on a growing technology in Vermont. Heat pumps and biomass. Is biomass perfect? What's the danger of biomass? Let me finish, all right? You had your chance. The danger is you don't want to do deforestation. You have to harvest appropriately. In New England, fine, you disagree. But in New England and around the country, we do have a lot of trees. If you harvest appropriately, in my view, and use that technology, in Vermont, more and more people are heating their homes, not with oil, they're heating their homes with wood. Maybe you disagree with that. That's what people are doing. It is cheaper. So the question is, You have to do the harvesting in a technically intelligent way. Otherwise, you're going to have a serious problem. But I do believe that biomass is one form of an alternative to oil. But last point, this is my last point, and the more important point. You disagree with me on the F-35? You disagree with me on biomass? Therefore, you're not going to participate. Up. Let me finish. And it's not just you. I hear this very, very often, and this is the point that I'm making. I only agree with you 98% of the time. Not good enough. Well, I disagree. I respect your different point of view. Okay, that's my view. All right.